You're listening to a Rock Candy podcast.
Hi, this is Reese Roper, and you're listening to our newest podcast ever.
Hey, everybody, this is Andrew and John, and we love this podcast because it's about us.
Welcome to Magnified Pod, the second season, our newest podcast ever. And call now and we'll send you a free Roper liquor cabinet and flute while supplies last. I'm Andrew.
I'm John.
And this is our podcast. That might not make sense, but it will.
It's true.
We are going to be interviewing and talking with Reese Roper, Scott Kerr, and our boy, Jeremy S.H. Griffith. On
Reese and Scott joining the Three Timers Club.
Yeah.
Jeremy returning
for the. I was going to call him a two-timer. That is not a. That is not a phrase that anybody should want to be called.
No.
So we'll scratch that. But we are lucky to have those dudes back on the pod. So Stick around for that interview.
Talking the new record and a lot of nonsense.
A whole lot of nonsense. Goes off the rails, as one might expect.
Yes.
But, you know, John, we are rapidly winding down. We will have... I'm getting emotional.
We will have.
We will have. Let me just...
Like
it's
yourself.
only... Yeah, we're only talking for 3 hours, so I'm a little parched. But before we get to that, we're winding down. We have some voicemails we need to catch up on. Mostly some voicemails from folks who want to share their thoughts and ideas about the new record. But John, we need to talk about our boy Casey Shock.
Yes.
AKA Johnny Two Grins. He accomplished something that I think few people outside of maybe Mickey have accomplished. And that is concluding the journey of listening to all MagPod episodes. So let's check in with our boy Casey Shock.
Mr. John, Mr. Andrew, what's up, my dudes? It's Casey Shock, Johnny Two Grins, as I was knighted by y'all. So I have officially finished all of your entire pantheon. I have annihilated it with my ear holes, and it is all ingested. So I have listened to a lot of you guys this year, according to Spotify, like 11,300 minutes. And that was before I finished the last 4 episodes I need to catch up with, plus the 2 that were released since. And also not counting the times I've re-listened to like at least 10 or 15 of your episodes just because I wanted to hear them again. And I've really, honestly, super enjoyed talking to you guys this year and getting to know you guys this year. Obviously more than you've gotten to know me because I've listened to 11,300 minutes of you guys talking. But I love it all. And it's been so cool to be able to connect with people about something that I loved so much in the past, which was 5 Iron, and still love, and can't wait for the Kickstarter stuff to get released. And going back and hearing season 1, MXPX, was basically like my prequels for you guys because I didn't hear it initially. And actually, controversially, I did not listen to MXPX before listening to you guys talk about them. And
that is wild to me.
Yeah.
That somebody who grew up listening to 5 Iron, I mean, these are adjacent scenes, you know.
We did have people who were on board for MXPX that did not listen to second season because they didn't listen to 5 Iron as much. So I guess it goes both ways.
I suppose so, but it just seems like he was saying that, like, I don't know if he was saying that, like, he wasn't a fan, or just like like it sounded like he said that he's like never listened. Like it's just like almost like he's like unfamiliar with like any of their music, which is crazy considering how much Five Iron and MXPX seems so intertwined in more recent years.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They played so many shows together.
Yeah.
And so I think that's wild. It's wild. So thank you. Casey left us a very long, kind message. So
yeah, thanks, buddy.
We appreciate the 11,000 hours.
Wait, minutes, right?
Sorry, 11,000 minutes.
It feels like 11,000 hours.
Yeah, it feels like 11,000 hours.
That's how many hours this podcast you got to edit down is right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that will be what I'm doing this weekend, the 11,000 hours of editing. But that's going to be my life going forward because season 3, baby.
Woo.
It's happening. But you know, we have some folks that are have been calling in, John, about this new record. Have you heard of it?
I heard of it.
Yes, this 5 Iron record, Until This Shakes Apart. Let's listen to our boy Danny Stairs.
What's up, you guys? Your boy Danny Stairs. Just going to say, oh my God. The fucking album is so good. God, I mean, I knew it was going to be good, but God, they outdid themselves this time. Oh, the sound and the lyrics, it's just fucking fire, and they just keep coming. Oh, so good. I just finished up with my first listen to the album. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. Tulu, motherfuckers.
So,
classic Danny, where we can hear about half of that.
Classic Danny Stairs voicemail, muddled for most of it, but that was on the 14th, so that would have been
like hours after it came out.
That was released. So 7:50 on the 14th, so that would have been like just after it was released to the Kickstarter people.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. Bobby G, Robert Gay, past guest.
Hey, it's boy Robbie G, Robert Gay. Back wearing those fancy Christmas shoes. Although, it occurred to me, so 5 Iron just added some new merch to their website, and you can now get yourself some Christmas pants. These are not my pants. It's not Christmas time anymore. Maybe like a Valentine's Day pants courtesy of 5 Iron Frenzy. Anyway, 5 Iron put out a new album, and it's amazing, and you guys are going to talk about it. Holy mackerel, it's so good. It is definitely top tier level 5 Iron. It's going to take me some time to feel out where it sits in the grand echelon. I do have a quick top 3. I don't know if I can put them in order, but my top 3, if I had to pick one, my top 1 would probably be Renegades right now. Just really stoked on that song. It's amazing. Number 2, maybe In Through the Outdoor. Number 3, right now I'm going to say Tyrannus, although sometimes it's While Supplies Last, and the whole record, I just keep listening start to finish. It's so good. There's a lot of Roper vibes now and then. There's a lot of super cool Scott Bridges. Anyway, great album. MagPod for life. Drink a hand.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Bobby G. I'm very curious. So these, both Danny and Robert Gay left these messages like within. Danny left it within hours of the album coming out. Robert Gay left his the next day. So I'm curious as people sort of keep listening and reflect on the songs and let them sink in more, how this album will stack up. Robert Gay still saying he needs to let it simmer and like find out where it fits. in his placement of 5-iron albums. But Danny already knows.
Soldier Boy Danny Stairs again, calling in about John's hot take that he doesn't like this album as much as Engine. I like Engine. It's a great album. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely one of their best. But I'm going to say this here. I'm going to say it, loud and proud. This is the best 5-Iron Frenzy album. I obviously haven't spent as much time with it as you guys, but this one, for me, this is it. I think we're going to find that John is on the wrong side of history here. He's wrong about this, and this is the best. And, maybe he'll come around, but it'll be too late. We'll have left him in the dust. He's slowly going away the buffalo, so to speak. Magpie for life.
John, you need to respond to this.
The band agrees with you, Dan. I don't know. I mean, we've rehashed this plenty. I said up top that I think objectively it's probably their best album, musically, production wise, lyrically, all that stuff. But I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah. Let's see. Got Jason from Atlanta.
New episode is awesome. The new album frickin' rules. This is Jason from Atlanta, by the way, called in before. But yeah, I think you are 100% that Reese would agree that this is their most Christian album. Like, I don't know if you saw his comment. He's like, I consider myself a Christian, meaning I follow the examples and teachings of Christ, which I think are counter to most of the American evangelical church. I think that says it all right there. I love this album. Lyrically on point. And as a Southerner, Tyrannus is my jam. Like the day that they came out with that album and they surprise dropped it and someone had put the lyrics up on Genius, I just plastered it on Facebook. I've already pissed off all of my family members who hold to that whole heritage, not hate thing. What's one more barb sent their way? It's awesome. But yeah, show's awesome. Can't wait for the next season, guys. Yeah.
Jason from Atlanta. That's all I have to say.
That's right.
That is, I love it. I love Tyrannus so much because there's, you can say what you want about, like, some people will be like, okay, yeah, I can, he's talking about school shootings. Yeah, I can understand that. He's talking about criticizing the church. Yeah, I can understand that. But like, when you say, like, we're going to bulldoze your statues and burn your flags, that I can't imagine. I want to like any people in the South, their heads probably simultaneously all exploded listening to that. Yeah. But I am 100% here for it.
I love seeing this kind of reaction, which I've seen several times now, of like Southern 5-Iron listeners being like, hell yeah, we're here for this. Also, yeah, he commented on your take about it being the most Christian album, which I saw there was some back and forth on social about this, which I just wanted to mention briefly. Like people saying they don't know if there's a most or a least Christian. But I think what I would say is maybe like most explicitly Christian, maybe like there's a different, you could say that there's a most Christian if it mentions Jesus a lot and have it be that, or it could be the kind of thing you're saying where it's like these songs that are clearly motivated by faith, calling people out and having that be explicitly Christian. So in a way, like, I don't know, I understand the like not making a distinction between most or least Christian, but like most explicitly guided by the principles that Jesus calls us to, like that feels fair to me.
Most explicitly rooted in the Gospels.
Yeah,
and
that feels fair to me.
Most explicitly rooted in, and I think this is something too that I could expand on as I've given it some more thought. That, Christianity to me is not so much. It's only about worship songs. It's not only about saying all the things, only talking about the things that God does for you or the ways that you're a sinner and Jesus saved you, as if Christianity is primarily something that's transactional, like it's all about what you get. Like it's like a Joel Osteen sort of situation. Like, let's talk about the positive things about Christianity. Let's be
like what this can do for you.
Yeah, that's because you can talk about that Jesus was upsetting the religious authorities of the day, and he was questioning the established religious authorities, and he was turning over the tables, and he was really challenging people on what it meant to be someone, the Pharisees, the most religious people, and hanging out with the people that were dismissed by society. And again, all of these verses that I was citing about the sheep and the goats, and doing for the least of these, and these are the things that I feel like are exemplified by the Gospels. And if we're talking about specifically the teachings of Jesus, I think these are the things that are rooted in a lot of the songs that Reese wrote. And there's not a battle dancing unicorns or superpowers or "Oh Canada" song on this record where there's not a "These Are Not My Pants" rock opera. So you're not going to get a moment of levity, but not every time in history calls for a moment of levity.
Yeah. I'm with you.
That's what I will say about that. Steven from Kansas City.
Hey guys, this is Steven in Kansas City. Just wanted to tell you what I thought of the new album. First off, I've been a Five Iron Frenzy fan for years. I think the first song I ever heard was Dandelions, right around the same time Quantity came out. Went to their final show, quote unquote final show in Denver. Drove through a blizzard to get there. This year has been kind of crappy, and hearing you guys go through all the albums has been a huge, exciting point. And then just being excited about the new album was huge for me. But when I first heard it, I was just sort of worn down by all the crap that's been going on in the world, and just hearing more about that was kind of disappointing. But then I, thanks to somebody who posted one of these things in one of the Facebook groups, said that you can kind of notice a theme of song and singing being kind of a stand-in for hope. And I hadn't really noticed that when I first listened to the album, and I kind of needed that shot of hope, even though there's a lot of things that feel pretty hopeless that needed to be called out. So it was really encouraging to start looking into the lyrics and seeing that theme kind of go across not just a few songs, but many, many songs on the album. So after hearing that and seeing that in the lyrics, it kind of opened it up for me. This album musically is freaking fantastic, and I love it. Maybe I don't get quite as jazzed as when I listen to upbeats, but it's an awesome, awesome album, and I'm so excited that they put it out, because I think a lot of people need to hear it. Obviously, it's causing some discussion on the interwebs, and I think that's probably good. Hopefully, some people will start thinking about things, and maybe it'll make a difference for some folks. But just always thankful for what Five Iron has done and how they've made me think more. So I think they've continued to do that on this album, and I say I have been listening to it nonstop, probably driving my wife and kids crazy, but that's all right. And thanks for all you guys do. Rock on.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I think this is also part of needing to take time with the album. Yeah. And so he's talking about that little bit of a shift, Yeah, I totally agree. We've been beaten down over this last year. And I think how some people respond to this is, like, some people might listen to this album and they might hear it and be like, oh, this is saying everything that I've been feeling but haven't been able to put to words. Or some people might feel like this is a catharsis. And then some people, like, Steven was saying, that it felt like, I need the hope. I need that hope piece. I need something to tie this together. And that's that the element of song that sort of throughout the album is definitely there. And I still do feel like the album ends on a hopeful note.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, we called out these kind of themes that played throughout about singing and flying, and how ultimately the ending of the album kind of culminates in tying those themes together. And even though it's like weary, it's hopeful. So yeah, thanks for those comments, Stephen.
All right, we got our boy Riker.
Hey, Andrew and John. This is Riker from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I say that because I love shouting out GR, but also to distinguish myself from your other listeners named Riker. And anyway, I know this is a long time no voicemail situation, but I've been here listening all along. So to break that silence, I wanted to share a few thoughts on season 2 and Until This Shakes Apart. So this might be a two-parter voicemail, but I'll see what I can do and try to be succinct here. So first of all, season 2 has been incredible. It really brought me a lot of joy during a strange, chaotic year, unlike any other. But unlike the MXPX season, where I was very familiar with all the music, I never really listened to Five Iron Frenzy before, and I always knew of them, but I never really committed to finding a gateway in. So I remember, I think looking them up once before on YouTube, and the first result was Pants, I believe. And, that left me kind of confused and didn't really know where to go from there. So, never really found a way in. But when you started this new season, I decided to let each episode be the very first time I listened to every album. And
so this kind of goes sort of to the point earlier, just like
we were saying,
the people who are MXPX fans who don't know Five Iron, and Five Iron fans who know MXPX. Well, here I am. I'm proven wrong. I guess I'm the asshole in this situation. So this
100%.
is spat. This is 100%. All right, we'll continue with Riker.
It was an extremely fun experiment and a really fun way to dive into Five Iron's music and become a fan. So thank you for that introduction.
You're
I
welcome.
also loved how the band actively participated, not only because so many band members brought great insights and interviews, but because you deserve that recognition. I know this is a labor of love for you guys, and I really appreciate all of the time and energy that you pour into it. So I'm glad more people are discovering it and joining in. So now I will share a few thoughts on the new album and my top 3. So Until This Shakes Apart is probably my favorite for sure. Every song is great, and lyrically it's so on point and speaks to how I've been feeling. And I'm just so glad that I didn't miss the Kickstarter this time. I can't wait for the vinyl to arrive, 4 to 5 months, whatever they said. So it definitely takes the number 1 spot for me. And if you're curious, I don't think I ever shared my favorite albums, but Engine of a Million Plots, The End Is Near, and our newest album ever are my other favorites, but haven't quite figured out the order yet. So I'll start my top 3. I have a feeling this voicemail is about to get cut off, but I don't know. I'll just keep hanging in there.
Yeah, so it is about to get cut off. So looks like he says his number 1 is In Through the Outdoor, and then Wall Supplies last. And number 3, so his number 3 is Burfano. It's so interesting. I think a lot of people's their top 3s are going to be so all over the place, which it's fair.
Yeah, it's funny that he's got The End Is Near so close. I mean, so high up on his list. Not necessarily the most common take, but I just love the idea of like him going into the season not knowing them at all, and by the end just like being so glad he got to be part of this Kickstarter and like super pumped about the record. Like that's so cool.
I love it. We've missed you, Riker, and
yeah, man.
I'm really, there's so many rad people. Like, John, you and I got a chance to meet Riker.
Yeah.
At a MXPX show, and he's such a cool dude. So I'm hoping more listeners. Like, I posted this on our Twitter recently. Like, if you see us at a show, come up and say hi. Come give us a hug. like we want to meet the people who've been listening, and even the people that don't like send us, voicemails or whatever. Like, just come say hi. Like, oh man, I'm just so excited to meet people and go to a show again. So
we'll have another MagPod meetup at some point in life.
For sure. No, I would like there to be a MagPod meetup with you, John, in the same in the Twin Cities.
What a concept.
When you live here, that's what I want.
We'll see what happens.
I'm unbearable, and I just fully accept that place in your life.
That's great.
Right, Jason from LA.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Jason out here in LA. Just enjoyed your last podcast, especially on the new 500 Frenzy album, which I think is amazing. Completely agree with you about this being the most Christian album they've ever done. Even there's no worshipy songs or whatever, but really just kind of a slap in the face to the far right, which they deserve it. But one song that really I can relate to is While Supplies Last. You guys know I work at the grocery store. I'm actually sitting in the parking lot right now ready to start my shift. But the story I got to share is the first day of the pandemic. It was insane. The shelves were getting empty, but I work in the deli, and some guy walked up right before I was gone over my 5th hour for lunch. Some guy walked up and said he needed ham. I let him know that, hey, I'm about to go on my lunch. The guy looked at me and says, "Nobody gives a damn about you. Give me my damn ham."
Wow.
And that was pretty much what we went through. Actually, we're still going through for the last 10 months. It's been bullshit. I'm sick of all these people treating grocery workers like shit. It's been tough. At the beginning, there'd be times I could be going home in tears. But While Supplies Last was really kind of a middle finger to everybody. And thank you, Reese, for speaking up. When I DM'd him about this situation, he said he was going to name the album Give Me My Damn Ham. He didn't. I'm very disappointed in you, Reese. So screw you. Just kidding. But you guys keep up the good work, and looking forward to you guys the next episode. And looking forward to this new season, too. As an old school tooth and nail kid, I'm going to enjoy this next season of Slick Shoes and just bands like Hangnail and other cool little punk bands that were around that time. So keep up the good work, guys. See ya.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I have such compassion for Jason and other people working in customer service.
Yeah.
I remember Jason calling in, early on in the pandemic, and I'm just like, I can't imagine just the unparalleled levels of exhaustion
totally
they must feel and frustration.
Yeah.
And just the tension that everybody must be feeling, just the longer this drags on, God damn it. People, just be nice to people in the service industries, tip people, have a little kindness, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason, for your work. Thank you for, and I'm sorry that people are so shitty, and I hate it.
Yeah. Thank you for listening, Jason. I feel like there's all this attention paid early on to essential workers and thanking them, and we've kind of forgotten that, but they're still dealing with the same nonsense this many months later. So keep your head up, man. I appreciate you listening to us and your work.
Yeah, and the same thing. You remember when we were applauding the people who were working in hospitals, and now people are like, where's my vaccine? Where's my vaccine? It's like, hey, wait, weren't you the person who was like saying this was all a hoax and downplaying this? Like, I'm seeing that shit, It's like, oh, wait a second. Interesting. It's essential. Yeah. God. Anyway, I'm getting a little frustrated. So our last voicemail, we got Matt from Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Hey guys, this is Matt Jones calling from Mount Vernon, Ohio. Just calling to say I am very excited every week when I get my update that there's a new Magnified podcast coming. Really enjoyed the episode on the latest 5-Iron Frenzy. I was part of their Kickstarter, anxiously awaiting their vinyl, but I was able to download the album. It's just incredible. I don't have a favorite song yet just because I think time will tell which is my favorite. But I so enjoyed your podcast this week, reviewing the album song by song. And I know season 3 is coming up. Very excited about it. I was wondering if you could possibly look into reviewing Model Engine. They used to be called Black Eyed Siva back in the 90s. They were one of my favorite Christian bands, and they only released one album under Model Engine, but it was incredibly awesome. So maybe you guys could think about reviewing that one. But thanks for all that you do. I love your guys' humor, and can't wait to see what this next season brings. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. So I'm unsure if he is from Illinois or from Ohio.
I think he's from Ohio.
He's from Ohio because I think there's both Mount Vernon and Illinois.
Yeah, so maybe he gets, maybe sometimes he forgets which one he's talking about. I don't know.
Maybe so. Yeah. So Model Engine looks like they are. They were 5-minute walk, so they're part of that crew. Looks like they're an alternative rock band. So probably not fitting into this next season, but we have other seasons to come. So, as we kind of look at the next kind of seasons, we have a lot of bands that we need to look through.
Yeah.
But so yeah,
we'll check him out.
I appreciate those recommendations. I've never heard of them.
No.
Yeah.
Cool. Check it out.
Yeah. So what do you think, John? Should we get to this episode of interview?
I think we
interview
should.
Episode.
Thanks for calling in, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for those voicemails, and more Magnified Pod to come with
Indeed.
all of those voicemails in future seasons.
Indeed.
This is
we're running out of steam.
We're running out of steam here. Okay, let's get
to our conversation.
Let's get to our conversation with Scott, Reese, and Jeremy. Sure.
Hi, I'm Liam Hooper.
And I'm Peterson Toscano. Together, we co-host the Bible Bash podcast.
The Bible Bash podcast is a monthly podcast where Peterson, a quirky queer Quaker and Northern belle,
and Liam, a trans Bible scholar and Southern gentleman,
get together to examine biblical texts, looking for the characters and situations you don't often hear about.
Each month, we look into a different ancient story. We're curious to find insights into our own queer lives. We discuss these and share our findings with you.
You can find the Bible Bash podcast on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. New episodes come out at the end of each month.
Bible Bash podcast is part of the Rock Candy Network.
All right, John, today on Magnified Pod, we welcome back. We got some three-timers on the pod. We have Reese Roper, Scott Kerr, and returning for the second time, we have Jeremy S.H. Griffith. Jeremy S.H. Griffith, let me not fuck that up. Welcome back to Magnified Pod.
Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What does the SH stand for? I don't even think I know.
Simeon Howell. It's my family name.
That's
so
cool.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Everyone thinks it's like Sean Harry or something, or like I'm just like, yeah. But yeah, everyone in my family has 4 names. I don't
know, bro. Like Jeremy Simeon Howell. That sounds like that if you want to start ghostwriting books or something for somebody, that's a pretty fucking rad author name.
I like that. I'm that smart. I could write books.
Yeah, it just sounds descended from the aristocracy or something.
Yes.
Well,
sounds like
Howell,
you have a small castle.
Howell, my grandfather homesteaded right down the street from me, and there's a street, Howell Drive.
Oh,
that's
damn.
cool.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Do you stake any claim to that road? Do you have any ownership?
I wish it's waterfront. I'd have money. It'd be nice, but no, I don't at all.
You could probably just claim eminent domain.
I could just insurrect it and
insurrect.
There you go.
I mean, yeah, just stand your ground, bro. It's Florida, so just
totally it.
There are no rules in Florida.
Just walk into someone's house and be like, "It's my house now."
It's mine. Sorry, bud. Sorry, mine.
It's mine.
I'm sorry,
Marco
what's your last?
Rubio.
Is your last name Howell? I don't think so. Get the fuck out. Hey, so I want to say congratulations, everybody. We all survived the Trump presidency, and we have a new president as of yesterday. So, congratulations, everyone.
Cheers.
Hey,
cheers.
Yeah,
to
wow.
that.
I'm gonna finish my drink on that.
Congratulations also for another reason, which is that as we're recording, Until This Shakes Apart came out 1 week ago. We have been basking in its glory for the last week and are super eager to dive into the record. But congrats on the record coming out, guys. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
There's a new
I'm really proud
record
of it.
out in the world. Trump is no longer president. Things are turning around.
I mean,
so.
it's been a big week. Yeah, 5 Iron record, losing a fascist. I feel like this year started off a little rocky, but turning it around. So, how are you guys feeling? Reese, I guess we'll start. I want to start with you. Like, how have you been feeling once you made the decision that this is it? No more tweaking or changes. Once the record was done, was that a feeling of relief? Was it nerves? Was it?
I don't think I made that decision. I think it was made for me because I kept getting frustrated, and then finally I just was like, "Hey, I'm out. I'm not going to talk to you guys for like 2 weeks." Not in a mean way, but just in a way that I was like, I had no room in my life for that kind of stress, and so I just was like, I just got to check out for a minute. And then the record was done, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad I did. Yeah, it's good. I was just frustrated. I do feel like it's the best album we've ever made. I think I fixate on just the minutia, and I couldn't get past it. So it was good.
Sure. Did you have any trepidation as it was being released into the world that this is like the most sort of out there, sort of leftist anthemic collection? Or was it like at that point it was what it was and you weren't, you didn't feel any like hesitation or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I had a little bit of anxiety about it. What's funny is when I checked out was like the end of December, maybe halfway through December. And then the last I remembered was we were going to release it January 1st. So on January 1st, I just kind of chimed in on all of our group text. And I was like, "Hey, did we put out an album today?" and Tom Chichilla, he kind of functions as our manager. He's our booking agent. He said, no, it's the 15th. We should talk. So we did.
Fair.
Yeah.
What about you, Scott? How did you feel like on the verge of its release, and how have you felt since it's been out in the world?
It felt great to get it done. Obviously, similar to Reese, I kind of just concluded a long time ago that I would probably keep messing with it until I was forced to stop.
Right.
But yeah, it got to a place where I was happy with it and was comfortable, sticking a fork in it. But I also expected us to release it more quickly after that than we ended up doing. But it was, I guess it turned out to be fine. I think we were all maybe a little concerned that just with its topical nature, we didn't want to wait, too long and say things when they were no longer relevant or less relevant.
So I have two questions from that, but I guess the first one you talk about, you were saying that you and Reese seem to both have like a, an indecisive nature, or that you keep having more thoughts or ideas on what you want to do. Scott, what is it that you keep tinkering with or keep working on? What would be the thing that you would keep adding or taking away or rethinking?
Mostly little textural things, no major parts. Maybe, tinkering with the horn tones or things like that. Basically, I kind of kept pushing that until I felt like Jeremy was getting annoyed with me.
No, Scott was great. It was a tenth of what it was on Engine.
Mm. I was way more annoying on Engine. Is that what you're saying?
You weren't annoying. You just were. You were worried about every minute detail. Where this time, I felt like it was a more natural team on it, and I felt like Scott was incredible through it, and he and I had a few fights because I'm just like a bitch, and I make things weird sometimes. I don't mean to, but I fessed up. But no, Scott was great. Reese was great. I don't think it could have gone smoother, to be honest with you.
Well, do you think some of that plays into the fact that all of this was happening in 3 different states versus always being in a room together for some of this? Because I know, Reese, you went to do the vocals with Jer, and Scott, you were doing a lot of the additional engineering and tracking in Colorado. So did that help maybe some of the dynamics, or was there still constant communication?
Scott was the primary producer. Let's remember that. Like, Scott did the bulk of the recording.
Right.
So, not to interrupt. I'm sorry. Scott, 3, 2, 1, go.
I think there's good and bad that comes about as a result of recording in separate places. I kind of like having the space, for some things anyway, to not be self-conscious when I experiment, and without anyone, you can't help but instantly judge something, as soon as you hear it. So I like to be able to try things that won't work, and so it's nice to have that freedom, but there's also an energy about being in the same room with someone that is also great. So I don't know that one is necessarily better than the other. It's just different.
Sure. So Jeremy, you mixed the record, you did vocal production, but what do you attribute what you were saying before to, that like the process was smoother than Engine? Is there something that you guys would point to in particular that made that the case?
In my opinion, it's a more mature band. When we got together for Engine, it hadn't been a band in a really long time. They didn't know how to function really. They were just excited, and so you're scared. The biggest thing I think with Engine probably is they were just scared about their own abilities for the most part. Where this one, everyone felt more comfortable in their skin. I was getting like really like fun messages, and there was never like any hardcore negativity, not on my end or anything. Like, people were just like, "Wow, man, this is so cool. I can't believe we get to do this." And I think it was like, not to be corny, like a beacon of light for the band during this horrible year, something to focus on, something to do. So I felt like there was a lot of like gratitude towards having like an end goal. And it just kicked ass. Like the music was awesome, and Reese showed up with some legit ass lyrics.
Yes, he did.
In my opinion, and
definitely,
pretty much.
It was.
Opinion.
It wasn't that it wasn't hard. We worked really hard on it. I mean, me and Scott FaceTimed. I think we talk about this a lot. You know, we FaceTime for months every day. You know, like all day.
Half of 2020 was FaceTiming Jeremy.
Sure.
But what an incredible thing that we could, and that I could send Scott, you know, a broadcast link, and we could work on things, and everybody in the band was really open to any idea I had, which was cool. If I was just like, I don't know about that, you know, they'd be like, well, let's do something new, and they would do it, and it'd be great, or they would just stick to the original thing, you know. So it was a really good experience. It should be horrible with that many band members.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes it is.
Reese was horrible.
Thank you.
On every possible level.
It was awesome.
No, Reese was amazing. Reese was the first human I saw other than my family in all of COVID. So, like,
And-
really, like, seeing.
And
In a biblical
if I remember
sense.
correctly, he pulled up in a Corvette, and he said
Camaro.
he thought,
Camaro,
a
baby,
Camaro,
convertible.
Camaro, yeah, convertible Camaro, and he said, "Hey, hi Jeremy, I might have COVID." If I'm remembering this
And he
correctly.
I was so excited.
He was coughing blood, right?
Well, I was so excited because I built my studio. Not many people have seen it. I'm like, Reese, this is great. Like, I'm showing him around. He has no
It's
mask
cool.
on. And then he just goes, I have this upper respiratory thing going on. I'm waiting on my results. And I was like, what? I was like, you bastard. But it was fine. But I don't know, guys. Whatever.
Whatever the process was, I feel like you can't argue with the results. So,
No, you can't.
I mean, what have you guys been able to like check out much of the reception? How do you feel about how folks have responded to it? Like, is it being received in the way that you hoped it would?
Who do you want to answer that first?
I don't know
Reese.
where to check. Where do I check to see what people say?
Have you heard of the internet?
Parlor.
I don't do the socials. Parlor. Jeez.
Big on Five Iron, huge on Parlor.
Man, the fact that like Brooklyn Vegan gave a great review and included you in their playlist, I mean, that's a big deal. Like, I feel like
For real?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
That's
I
amazing.
feel so stupid, but I was just like, oh, cool. That is a niche that we have succeeded in.
I'm looking it up right
Vegans
now.
in
That's
Brooklyn.
amazing.
I feel like its name betrays the fact that it's actually a pretty influential music publication.
Okay.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Really?
I think people.
Yes, it's important.
Yeah.
I hope
People,
they're not
like-
offended by me saying it really like that. But I was just like,
No, Brooklyn
good.
Vegan and Pitchfork are kind of like, you know, they're. I wouldn't say they're necessarily the same, but I feel like they both carry weighty sort of. There's a weightiness to it.
Yeah.
cool.
Holy crap, they reviewed it. This is incredible.
I mean, yeah, I haven't seen a ton of full reviews, but I would say, I mean, just from, socials, Jeremy, which you're not seeing, I think people are very positive about it.
Yeah.
So
They
yeah,
really like it.
Yeah.
What
I
the
wondered
hell? This is rules.
Reese and Scott, have you seen much of that chatter, and what have you thought about it?
Yeah,
Scott-
yeah. I mean, I've kind of perused Facebook and Twitter, and like you said, most of it's positive. There are the people who we knew full well would have issues with it.
Yeah,
and they are vocal, but overall, I couldn't be happier. I mean, I don't remember the feedback being this overwhelmingly positive with Engine even. And it could be that, everyone's kind of primed for for something like this. And so there's just seems like there's more chatter in general. But yeah, no, it's been really encouraging.
Yeah, I feel like I guess the first time there was good internet coverage was Engine. Our other albums, it was like, do you have a MySpace page?
Yeah, right.
So, just from what I've seen, it's miles above what Engine was. Just people losing their minds. There's maybe like 1 in every 100 people that are saying, hey, what's the deal with all the political songs? And then it seems like people just tear them a new ass.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's those are the same people that would be like, since when did Rage Against the Machine start writing political songs? You know,
oh my God, all that stuff is insane.
People that haven't paid attention to the last 25 years. And that's mostly your defenders, the Five Iron defenders are going to be the first people to point that out. Be like,
yeah,
look, guys, their albums aren't every new day on repeat. So maybe you should go back and kind of listen to some of those other songs.
It's cool. I feel like people have a good point in that they're saying it's not like a cookie cutter Five Iron album. There's no worship song. It's not like there's no funny song. There's no we kind of have a mold that we tried to do even on the last album, and I think some people are just averse to that. They're upset that it's not the same. But most of the people I feel that have been upset about the political nature of it, they're somewhat forgiving, which is impressive. You know, I feel like the fans that love it, they lay into those people, but then they're pretty diplomatic about how they go about saying they don't like it. You know, and it's very heartwarming.
I mean, there's not a silly song. There's not a Battle Dancing Unicorns on the record or anything, but I can't imagine one of these songs being swapped out for like Employee of the Century, for example.
Speaking of Battle Dancing Unicorns.
Right. And I also feel like a lot of the feedback that I'm seeing and a lot of the people, one of the phrases that I've seen it multiple times is like this is the album I really needed right now, or this is I didn't know this was the album I needed, but I'm so glad that this is. I think it speaks to a moment that's a moment that is stretched over many years, and I think there's a catharsis. There's a sense that we're not experiencing this. There's so much loneliness right now that it feels like, here is something that like is bringing everybody together. Like we're sharing this moment in time together, and especially like the Five Iron community is so tight and supportive and encouraging. Like, I think there's just something about this album that resonated so deeply. And I think if the tone of the record there would have been like a little bit of a whiplash going from like one of those songs into a silly song or Employee of the Century. I just don't feel like the tone of the majority of the album would have accommodated something like that. And I feel like the tracks that are on the record serve the greater purpose of the record, and it just feels, they all feel a piece of the record, that none of the songs really feel out of place in the record. It feels like a whole.
Cool.
That's a relief. Because truthfully, both Auld Lang Syne and Homelessly Devoted were like intentional in like trying to bring some levity.
Yes.
So the danger in that is like you know it might actually sound gratuitous in some way, and I'm glad that is your impression, that it still fits.
And that's just me. You know, everybody, what somebody takes from a song is going to be different than what I take from a song, and you know, and I think that's the beauty of art. It doesn't need to be one thing, you know. And you know, Reese, as the lyricist, you know, I know that you have said that you don't always like explaining lyrics. So first, has that position changed really over time, or if you ever see, I'm curious too, if you ever see like a take on a song that's just so bad, do you ever feel the need to chime in, or do you kind of let people take what they want from a song?
Yeah, I have that kind of knee-jerk reaction where I want to be like, oh no. Somebody said something about renegades on the interwebs, and they were saying, it's what were they saying it was about? It was about just straight something. Maybe they confused it with bullfight. Like, it's about capitalism and how capitalism is bad. And I was like, yeah, but it's about how capitalism is making our kids get shot at schools.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something else. I didn't say anything. There was about 15 other people that were like, no, it's about school shootings.
Right.
So that was great. What I don't like about explaining songs and spoon feeding them to people is, for me, what I like about songs is that I like songs that I have an emotional connection with, and it may be for something totally different than the lyricist intended. That I draw that emotional connection, and I don't want to ruin that for people.
Yeah.
If somebody gets that from one of our songs, I don't want to take that away.
Yeah, that kind of prompts me to ask a little bit about the process. I mean, last time you guys were on together, we kind of talked about how with Engine you were using placeholder lyrics on the demos, and how this time around the lyrics came first. And I know it was a different process for different songs, and it kind of involved you guys getting on the same page. But could you describe like that process of songwriting and the lyrics in order compared to the songwriting structure, and how it was different this time around?
Yeah, we threw a lot of stuff at the wall just to see what would stick, I think, on this. And Scott has been very patient with me, and I feel that we could have been done with this album 5 years ago without me being in the band. I don't know. For me, to write lyrics, I have to have an emotional connection with the song. I have to I have to feel that the song is about something that just kind of punches me in the guts. And for that to happen, sometimes Scott would send me a demo and nothing would be triggered, and I'd mess around with it a while, write some lyrics. Scott was super cool at just trying different ways to get this done. So sometimes he'd be like, just send me some lyrics that you're not going to use. And I would. It'd be stuff I had written for like version 4 of Micah's song. And it would come out and end up being a totally different song that Scott would write to these lyrics that we threw out or we weren't going to use. And lyrics that I was like, well, at the time I wrote this because I was depressed. And then it would come out and it would, Scott would write this new song. It would sound very tough. And we'd go with it. For instance, So We Sing. It was written to another song, and then Scott paired it to that song, and it was badass. It was really good. So, Scott, you want to chime in on this?
I think you covered it pretty well, but yeah, it did vary from song to song. If what Reese sent back was something that I was excited about, we left it, or maybe we left parts of it. Renegades is a good example. Like there was some of, like those lyrics were written for that song, but it needed some tweaking melodically, and so I ended up actually writing like the chorus progression was totally different in the first iteration. So I ended up, adding a new chorus to it, and then writing a different melody that I thought made it more climactic. So that's one example. Others, we basically kept what Reese came up with, and still others, like he said, were intended for one song, but after hearing them, I felt inspired to write something else to them, and so it was a much different writing process than I've ever done for Five Iron or any other project I've been in. And I think I've said it before, like I never would have guessed that I would enjoy it, have it starting with the lyrics and having to write around that, but it turned out to be a fun challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go. I was just saying you killed it. Good job, Scott.
He did kill it.
Correct.
I mean, I want to, speaking of somebody who killed it, I want to talk about Dennis for a second.
Yeah.
So for Engine, Scott, a lot of the demos, if I remember correctly, you pretty much had a majority of those songs kind of in place, like including a lot of the horns for those songs. So I'm curious, how much was that the case this time, and how much input did Dennis have in a lot of the horn arrangements? Because not only do they sound unbelievable, the arrangements and just the mixing, but Lonesome for Her Heroes, the trombone solo at the end of that is just incredible. So I'm just curious how, because I know that some of that was recorded in Jersey, right? At Dennis's spot. Is that right?
A little bit of it, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there wasn't too much. I think part of the horn line for Tyrannus, sorry, I still don't know if I'm saying that right. Tyrannus.
And we got to ask John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah. Part of that one was recorded because he flew out here for a week, and we got most of his stuff recorded during that time. But as we finished things, especially things tend to change after we get a final version of the lyrics or the actual vocal recordings. We needed some other just kind of supplementary horn lines here and there. So Tyrannus, he recorded some of that at his house, and some of, I think, the bridge of Wildcat, if I remember right. So not a whole lot, but a little bit.
Okay.
But to answer your question, it was similar this time. I still had, like original demos with a lot of keyboard horns written out.
Okay.
But Dennis always improves them. He's just he's a great horn player, and he knows how to make those articulations, I guess, sound as good as they can be.
And the solo's incredible.
Yeah, and the solo is totally him. I mean, I wrote the beginning horn line, like the main riff for the song, I guess, and then he just totally took it up, 10 notches with that solo.
Yeah.
There is like a very particular horn sound on this record, though, that feels different from anything else you guys have done. I mean, I know that we talked about how you guys were kind of digging the vibe of Someone Else's Problem from Engine and wanted to kind of play more in that sonic world, which you certainly do on this record. But there's like a warmth to the horn sound from that kind of two-tone dub sound that really permeates the record. And I wondered if you guys could talk a little bit about how that was achieved. Obviously, Dennis's arrangements are a key part of how those songs work, but just the sound of the horns, like how did that work this time around compared to other times?
Well, I almost sabotaged it.
So,
well,
I don't know if sabotage is the right word.
It was the horns are the only major problem in the mixing process. I would do a mix, and Scott would be like, "Yeah, it sounds really great, except for the horns. You made them sound like keyboards." And I would just be like, "I don't know what I'm doing." And then finally Scott started, he actually mixed the horns and sent them over to me, and I did a slight treatment. So what you're hearing is Scott's mix on the horns into my mix. And it really helped because I don't think I would have ever made him happy on any mix I did of the horns. And I don't really know why. I don't know why I couldn't get it right, because he would tell me what he was doing and it was very simple, but then I would do it and he would just be like, ugh. That's
Sorry.
not it. And I'd be like, you do it, you know. Then we'd have a fight and I'd, run out and break something, but no. Scott can tell you why they sound good. Scott?
Scott, what did you do to the trumpet? Did you have a different mic?
Yeah, I mean, actually using a ribbon mic on the trumpet was key. Ribbons in general are darker sounding. They just kind of tame a lot of the high end, and the trumpet can get really brash sounding, especially with a condenser mic. So we did a lot of experimenting with different with different mic combinations on all the horns, and I think getting the trumpet right was definitely key. But then also just finding the right balance between the three horns, and I don't know, like I found a good combination of saturation plugins that I think like helped them fit in the mix with everything else. That was the I guess the secret sauce.
Yeah, it pairs so well alongside the sort of, sonic flourishes that like you're exploring a little more with your production on some of those dub leaning songs. Like we talk a lot about how great those echoey keys sound, and there's kind of organy sounding keys that come in and piano that comes in here and there, and just those little flourishes make it such a rich kind of like sonic tapestry, and the horns fit in so nicely to that sound. So they really stand out. I wanted to ask specifically about adding in the new horns on the ending of While Supplies Last, which is our shared favorite song from the record. But when we heard the new version,
Chef's Kiss.
When we heard the new version with the horns at the end, we were like, that takes it just to the next level even more. So how did that happen?
Well, when Jeremy was mixing that song, at some point he said, I really wish there were horns at the end of this.
Good call, Jer.
So
crushing it, Jer.
No big deal.
At that point, I spent a few days thinking about it. I came up with a line that I thought was cool. Meanwhile, I was actually in between. So my computer crashed in the middle of all of this, and I quickly got everything up and running on a backup computer. And I didn't have my usual keyboard horn VST set up, so I just recorded it with the synth and sent it out to the band, and nobody liked it. Or I think Sonny was the only person that said anything good. Everyone else was like, yeah, whatever. But I still asked the horns to record it anyway, and so I'm glad that they did. Everyone likes it now that they hear it with horns. They just didn't like it with the synth.
Sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it probably didn't sound great. It's like it's not supposed to sound like exactly like it, but like I just think that was the absolute right call. And I said on the last ep that it felt like hearing that song again for the first time, and just that level of that it was because the ending of While Supplies Last, hearing it the first time, it was so unexpected, and then hearing the horns for the first time, not expecting that too, was just like, oh shit! I didn't realize like how much this adds, and just to these last like 20 seconds of the song, I was so psyched.
Yeah.
I'm going to weigh in on this. The keyboard horns, normally, Scott, when you program them, they sound decent. You're very good at that. It's hard to do. But this sounded like it was like toot, 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 toot. And I was like, I don't think it needs more toots. So you recorded it. If what you recorded was the national anthem of any country, I would move there. I would be like, this country is fucking at the top. No, I don't know what they're doing, but like I want to be in that country. It's so good. It sounds so powerful. It's like some Navy warlord fight song. All of a sudden you're just like, oh, that was pretty tough. And then the horns kick in and you're just like, there goes my bowels.
Yep.
There they go. Right there.
I was worried to death that you were going to hate it. And in fact, when I didn't tell Reese that we were recording that, I just, kind of casually sent it out without comment to see, if, maybe it would go unnoticed or something. And the text I get from Reese is, dude, the horns at the end of While Supplies Last, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So then that was the first text, and I thought he was pissed.
Right.
Yeah.
This song that is kind of sacrosanct to him, or like I just totally like screwed it up. But then he quickly followed that up with some compliments. So I was relieved that everyone liked it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm happy that it ended where it did. It's also the only song, Jeremy, that you have a songwriting credit on. Is that because of the horns, or why is that?
I have a credit.
Yeah, dude. Do you remember when you fucking just pulled out that bass and you're like, hold on, I got to show Scott something. And then you just tore shit up in the studio.
The bass at the end. I'm sorry.
So you're the is that you?
That's Scott.
Okay.
I just changed the chord progression like 2 notes, right, Scott?
It was the last chorus. So
okay. Also responsible for taking it to the next level, for sure.
Definitely. No, it was one of those moments, as soon as you hear it, you're like, yep, that's better.
Yeah.
An all-timer. An all-timer.
Cool. I didn't, maybe I knew I was getting a credit. I don't know.
It's all a blur. Speaking of bass, I would like to talk a little bit about that fuzzy bass action.
Talking slapping the bass?
Talking slapping that fuzz bass.
Slapping the bass.
Big time. Because, we've talked about this a bit, and I even reached out to you to be like, how did you achieve this? So certainly feel free to talk more about it. But that fuzz bass sound is just such a that's what I think about when I think about this record, first and foremost. And I love the sound immediately. How did you kind of decide? Was it as simple as knowing that you kind of wanted to play more in that dub world that you decided that was the right sound? Or was it like a sound you wanted to explore more? How did you kind of... Reese
oh my God.
Getting some fireball.
Reese is pulling out the fireball.
Things are going to be
insane.
Shocked that it's taken this long.
Why is it in a Mac Pro?
It looks like a Mac Tower computers, and you just open it up and there is booze inside.
Oh man,
I have 2 bottles of Reese's alcohol here. I have Fireball and Canadian Mist. I never understand why he buys the worst crap to drink.
It works. It's the mix.
Did you create that?
He insists that it helps him sing better.
Yes, I did.
That's incredible.
It's a genius. Back to the bass fuzz.
I guess. I just want to know everything about that. But but yeah, Scott, can you talk about that sound a little bit?
I guess on the first couple of demos, so sometimes I write bass lines on the keyboard. For similar reasons, we may have talked about it before at some point, but I'm not a very good piano player, and it's disorienting enough to where I don't, have the muscle memory kind of causing me to fall into the same conventions that I normally do. So I like it for that reason. And the first couple of demos I made, Renegades and I think So We Sing as well, I actually used a synth bass, and I really liked how it sounded. But for 5-iron, I still wanted it to have an organic feel and like it was a real bass being played. And so, but it did make me kind of experiment with trying to achieve some sounds that, kind of sounded a little synthy in nature. And that's sort of what started it. And then it's fun to play. I think these songs have enough space. Some of them still have a lot of, guitar wall kind of sounds, but, it's definitely the more ska influenced ones have that space in the mid-range to allow for that without it just being lost.
Can we talk ska for a second?
We can.
Because, we had talked this past summer about, you were saying that this is going to be kind of like your most ska record that you've done in a while, and that got us really psyched, and that was going to be more like someone else's problem, and more of that W two-tone sound. So, Scott, I remember that you were sort of, you like to kind of switch things up, kind of like do something. You don't want to keep doing the same thing. At what point did you decide that you wanted to start messing around with that sound again? Like when was that kind of a moment where you're like, oh, let's throw in some of these little, organy sounds. Let's get in some of these sort of ska guitars again. And when did that happen for you?
That was pretty early. So, the first round of songs that we did that, we've talked about before, that were intended for 5-iron and ended up being used for other projects. We're still kind of more like Engine, more power pop and rock. But once they were repurposed and we kind of came back to working on 5-iron material, that's probably the point at which I became more interested in exploring those sounds. And it was after I wrote several of those that I, and I was getting kind of mixed feedback from the band. Some people were all about that, and others missed kind of the more rock sounds. And so I'm always trying to get everybody in the band excited about it. So that was the point at which I kind of transitioned to writing some more, kind of garagey punk rock-ish sounding stuff.
Yeah. So, I know this seems kind of like an unfair question, so to speak, because playing live is not really something that's on anybody's radar right now. But I'm curious, do you have set lists in your mind? I know that Andy tends to be the person who crafts the set list, but are you guys thinking about that already, or is it just too much to consider, because it's not going to happen for a while, and you're not going to have maybe a proper album release show for a while? Is that just too much of a tease to even think about?
Andy just sent me a set list yesterday.
That rules.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to ask him for that.
My dude.
How many?
Andy.
How many songs from the new record were on it?
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 seems to be the limit. If you go over that, you have too many people just standing there with their arms crossed.
Yeah, that makes me sad because I want an only the last 2 records set list, but I understand.
Yeah. Reese, I'm curious because this has one of the more sustained yelly Reese segments in a 5-iron song since American Kryptonite. So I'm curious, are you gonna keep it to maybe one yelly Reese song per show to not
Yeah.
Imagine it's got to be tough on the vocal cords if that's not the kind of style that you're doing constantly.
Yeah, normally when we fit American Kryptonite into a set, I can't do the screaming or I can't sing for the rest of the show.
Right.
I want to, but I just can't. I'm mortal.
American Kryptonite is on Andy's set list, just so you know.
Yes.
It is?
Hell yes.
If
And
it's
it's
a
right-
Salus,
And it's
go
right
ahead.
after while supplies last.
Oh,
I'm not even kidding.
Brutal.
That rules, though.
Brutal. Oh man.
It'll be great.
So-
you got the fireball. You're fine.
We have we have a couple dilemmas with this new album. I really tried consciously because on Engine, Scott and I had several conversations on like, hey Reese, what is your range? What do you like singing in? And it came out as just me being like, well, I can sing this high. And yes, probably on a good day with enough Fireball and a good vocal warm up, I can sing that high again.
Stop drinking Fireball.
It's so look,
Jeremy,
dude,
how dare you?
I can
Doesn't
feel
help
myself-
anything. And it tastes like
feel
shit.
myself getting
Cinnamon
stomach
whiskey.
cancer as I'm drinking it.
Oh man.
I mean,
Don't-
it's like
None
a
of us have been
fireball
able-
gone wrong.
None of us have been able to get him to stop. Shame doesn't work. Nothing does.
Because it works. I
It
hate
doesn't.
it.
It
Let
doesn't
me tell
work.
you that I hate it. And the only reason I'm drinking is because the only choice back there was tequila or Fireball.
Oof.
And
That is a real Sophie's choice of bad decisions.
right. So I chose Fireball just a little bit. I don't want to drink it. I drink it because it helps me sing well. For real.
That's inaccurate.
Jeremy and
Jeremy.
I have had this conversation about you.
You've heard, hey, have you guys heard Until This Shakes Apart? Because it's powered by Fireball.
Jeremy,
we have seen the chart.
Yes.
It's a chart.
After two fireballs, who is it? Who is it that
Two Fireballs.
Two fireballs, and then after that, who is it that you compared him to, Scott?
At which point? All the way to the bottom?
Oh yeah.
Linda McCartney? Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
There is, I don't know if it's widely available on the interwebs, but there is like somebody who hated Linda McCartney put her monitor mix out, and it was just isolated, and it's like her singing "Hey Jude." And you
playing
can kind of
tambourine.
hear the rest of the band. Yeah, and it's like tambourine is off, and she's like, "Ah!" Just a lot of real bad notes.
She needed the fireball.
She needed the Fireball.
Jeremy did play a clip for us of you sort of mid-delivery going, I think I may have hit a wall on the fireball intake or something like that.
Yeah, it's true. There's a point. It's pretty quick. I want something like it that doesn't make me inebriated. I think that's the problem.
Water.
Yeah.
Honey
That's not
and hot tea or something.
I have tried
No
water.
teas.
I've tried water at every show. I've tried all the teas. I've tried the throat sprays. I've tried lozenges. Tried all the vocal warm-ups.
All the
It's-
sprays, lozenges, that's
all
all bull
sprays.
crap. Just drink
No.
water.
No, I got blessed by the Pope. All the things. It did not work.
Yeah.
Wait, I need to go back to this because I think this dilemma that we have of screaming in these songs, plus we added a lot of keyboard. What we need to do is just get some keyboard player to join our band who can also scream all the screamy parts.
Who's named Jeremy?
Hey.
Jeremy.
I decline.
Jeremy,
Smart man.
can you at least sleep on it?
I can't scream.
Someone out there can do this.
There's
I mean,
someone. There's someone.
You kind of share the screaming responsibilities with like Micah and others, don't you, for American Kryptonite?
Yeah, Brad
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Brad.
Both those guys, they're assholes, though.
Micah, famously a huge asshole.
Huge asshole. No, it's like they're trying to save their voice for something. I'm like, that's me. I'm doing that. I'm the singer. Look, please don't judge me on this, but like, I gotta sing the next song. Can you guys, who just whatever, you're back there dinking around with your horns or whatever, scream? Can you just do that?
Oh man.
No.
Well, we
I
need
feel
to
like
figure
Dennis
out
could let
some
it
way
rip.
for.
He does more than dink around with his horn, by the way. Mostly he avoids getting kicked by me. I feel so bad for Brad because most of his career in Five Iron Frenzy has just been dodging me acting like an idiot.
Accidentally Van Damme kicking him in the face or something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we need to come up with some kind of solution to hear Well Supplies Last live, because that must happen. Is there a song? I mean, regardless, putting aside the vocal, scenarios, is there a song that you guys are most excited to play live?
Scott,
it's hard to say. I would love to play any number of these songs, especially the ska ones. Like when we have tried to play Someone Else's Problem, it didn't go over very well.
Right.
I'd be hopeful that this time around, maybe because there's enough of it, that it doesn't feel so out of place in context of the set. I would love to play While Supplies Last, Renegades. Those probably be my top two.
Yeah, Renegades would be my
Agreed.
top.
Okay.
I think Huerfano and In Through the Outdoor and So We Sing would also be fun just because they seem like good crowd songs.
Yeah. Into the Outdoor.
Yeah.
And So We Sing seem like obvious additions to the set, I would think. But I do want to hear you guys play around in that Dubby World live.
I will While Supplies Last, unequivocally, I would travel to a Five Iron show just to see While Supplies Last. If that was your only song on your set list, I would be satisfied.
Last song of the tour, you can blow your vocals out completely, and we'll travel to wherever you are.
Yeah.
A song for all three of you guys. Is there a song that you're proudest about how it came out on the record, or maybe like what you were most surprised by how it evolved?
I'm not sure I remember all the songs.
Sure. Fair.
Perfect.
I think for me, not to be weird, because I know we keep talking about it, but on a rock mix level, Renegades is like one of my crowning achievements sonically.
Sounds awesome.
Which was an accident. I just mixed it, and that's how it ended up, because that's that's how they recorded the song. I did a little bit of stuff, but it just sounds like that. And sometimes you arrange songs that just end up feeling so crazy. And you work so hard on other songs to make them impact like that one does on the chorus, and doesn't always happen. So that's my proudest rock mix in a long time.
You crushed it.
Sounds great.
Banger.
I did a rough mix of, I guess a rough mix of all of them, but on that one I actually kind of tried to mix it as best I could, and it sounded decent, but then Jeremy mixed it and made mine sound terrible. He just has a way of making everything just have such impact. And it's
man.
It's something I wish I knew how to do.
I've been showing you everything I know. I mean, they're not going to hire me next record. It's for sure. Scott's going to do it all. Yeah. Put that finger down.
Whatever, dude.
I mean, it's okay.
Just shut the fuck up, dude.
So for me, I think Renegades and One Heart are maybe my favorites.
One Heart is great.
I love that song.
For like, I think the production and mix and just it kind of hit on all cylinders on both of those. Those are definitely two of my favorites. While Supplies Last is probably the most interesting story and probably the most collaborative song we've ever done. Just a lot of people putting in on that one. So,
yeah,
a lot of people not listened to on that one on my part. I was just like, No, this is what it's about.
Yeah, lyrically, maybe not so much the collaboration.
Not so
but
much.
Musically, definitely.
Musically, it is supreme. Yeah. So my vote is While Supplies Last. I did not think it was going to make the album because of what it was about, and suddenly everybody in the band was behind it. Scott added those horns at the end. So good. It's the horns at the end just make it for me.
Yeah.
Renegades, I had, so speaking of drawing an emotional connection, this is like something I drew an emotional connection to. Like the first time I heard it, I was like, I'm writing about school shootings. And Scott, you were just like, I don't like it. And finally, like, it just started clicking. I mean, probably because my vocal melody sucked, but I was adamant. We have to put the song out. This has to be what we have to say. This is important. It's important to our band. Like Micah's sister was at Columbine, and Scott, your son was in a school shooting.
Jesus, really?
Yes, it is like. I want to be like, what are the chances? But they're pretty good because this is America and capitalism. Like what we keep just sacrificing kids, to our God of War.
Yep.
And I am so glad that song came out the way it did, and more importantly, I'm so glad that people like it as much as they do because it's heavy.
Yeah.
Also, the bridge. I think the bridge makes it. And, Scott and I had tried a couple different things, couldn't get it. Dennis took the words that I had written and he made it. He actually wrote the bridge, and it was just, we were like, that's it.
It's really, yeah. I mean, that kind of puts it over the edge to like the craft of the whole song. The bridge really makes it all come together in such a powerful way. Speaking of which, I think a lot of people have called out the same lyrics that we talked about in our pod, but Reese, I really think these are the best lyrics you've ever written. And it's not just because they're so fiery and justicey, which I love, but I think just in terms of poeticism, I mean, it's just the fact that like so many people have called out, you want your ledgers black, we want our children back. I mean, I got chills as I read it just now. It's just like such a powerful song lyrically and musically. So yeah, I don't know.
It's every time.
No question, but yeah.
Yeah, every time that part comes on, it's just like I just so many of the songs I feel the weight every time, and I think that's part of what connects people. I mean, Reese, you've talked about needing to feel an emotional connection to the song, to what you're writing, to the music, and that comes through so much. And people are really responding to this record because of, I think, just how raw and real and honest and authentic and vulnerable everything is. And I think that says a lot about you as a band, that you all co-signed all these songs, but like just the strength of you as a songwriter.
Here.
You guys can fuck right off.
Best response.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not just that you're putting yourself out there in terms of political, but I mean, there are a couple of very personal, vulnerable songs on the record too. Is that something that you wrestled with, or was it just like, this is where I'm at, this is where the band is at, and this is what's going to happen?
I don't know if I talked about this before. Did I talk about Where's Your Meets 15?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like back then in 1995, Scott gives me a tape of Where 0 Meets 15, and I tried writing words to it about, whatever. This is a goofy ska song, or I tried to write exactly. I was in a creative writing class, and one of our projects was just overhearing people talking about things, and I was like, I want to make a song like that. So I did. I made that song, and I kept trying to make it into something about these people that I saw at the bus stop just getting saved or healing, or the homeless guy goes home and he stops being crazy and goes to his wife, or stops having flashbacks from Vietnam or whatever. It was all fake, and the guys in the band just said, don't do that. That seems fake. And so I think at that point I just realized that I don't know, I really feel that my weakness is kind of just put out there on display, if I'm honest, and I feel like Christ is my strength in that. And so if I just just vomit straight honesty as best as I can, and maybe try and make it rhyme, that is what works for 5-Iron.
Yeah.
Because it's not me, and I like that.
Did you ever see the tweet that somebody said, what was the 5-Iron song where Reese pays the homeless guy 13 cents to pee on him?
Yeah. Almost right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Danny Leary tweet. No, but I love that. I'm somebody that strives for absolute authenticity and vulnerability as much as I can, because that's how I connect to people. Like, that to me is like what I feed off of in my relationships, and then it's also what I seek out in art, is art that feels true, and by true I don't necessarily mean that it's historical or real necessarily, but like the stories that can be told can be true regardless of their historicity, so to speak. But I just, there's every song I'm just feeling on authenticity and honesty and raw emotion, and I think that's also why songs like Renegades are how many people I've talked to and have seen talk about weeping at the end of that song. And I think you got to think that a lot of the 5-Iron fans now are at an age where they have kids. They have kids that are, that age, that are in school, and maybe when they were, maybe back in 1995, 96, maybe that would have felt a little different. But now, thinking about sacrificing their kids at the altar of the NRA, the golden calf of the AR-15, it hits differently.
Yeah.
And I don't even have kids, but it's still I have a heart. I weep for people who experience that shit.
Yeah.
Nobody wants kids to die.
Right.
That is the thing. I mean, maybe a few people. They're probably not listening to your podcast. But yeah, I mean, it's huge. I wanted to say also, while we're on the subject of being honest, that Wildcat, the person that I talk about, is totally made up.
Mm-hmm.
So I went against that rule of mine. But the song is about middle age. It's about coming into middle age and just kind of painting yourself into a corner. And so in that way, I felt like metaphorically, this is true. This is what I'm trying to say in this metaphor.
That's the thing. That can still be true while not being an actual person.
Right. Yeah. That was something that I wondered was I think I caught the metaphor, but I wondered if it was inspired by a particular story you heard. But I feel like I saw you say that it was trying to think of somebody who is beyond like redemption, but then that the story is like none of us are beyond redemption, even kind of the person who's facing the circumstances that the character in the song is, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think metaphorically, I just wanted to think of the most loathsome person I could think of, which is just somebody that is like drilling for oil, fracking to make money, and he poisons a town's water. You know, not at all caring. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I did want to get your thoughts, Reese, on, we've talked about Renegades a lot, and we've talked about listener and fan feedback. And people can't help but see a little bit of a parallel between January 6th at the Capitol and some of the words in the chorus of Renegades. And I've seen some terrible takes on that song, and some of the false equivalencies that a lot of people are making. But did that day, have you thought about that song differently, or did that strike you as sort of a coincidence, or how are you thinking about that song right now in light of what has gone down?
Yeah, so so January 6th happened before the, well before the album came out, not well before, but a week. So we were like, should we not do this? We actually had this conversation. Is this gonna come back as bad? Because it talks about like, we'll be tearing down your barricades, storming your palisades.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if somebody is drawing like some parallel between that and us saying it's okay to storm the Capitol to make sure that Trump is still your president,
then fuck you.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, however, when we wrote the song, it was like, also, this needs to happen. Kids are being killed in the name of in the name of commerce, in the name of gun manufacturers and ammo manufacturers making money. That is entirely what is happening. The reason that the NRA exists is because gun companies make money every time a school shooting happens. They make billions of dollars selling ammo and guns. And if there was a reason to storm the U.S. Capitol, I would think it would be to save kids, not because this fucking orange person needs to be president for another 4 years. God bless him.
Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah.
We talked about the
The
stuff
Cheeto.
You went there. The orange buffoon.
I'm
colorblind.
You guys, he's Florida man now.
Florida man.
He's
Florida man.
We're
Florida
moving.
man.
We're moving. We're leaving Florida.
Did you guys
Come on up here, Jeremy. It's real nice, and I don't have any friends.
It's probably going to be Georgia.
Don't go to Georgia.
I have family there and a mountain house.
Okay, never mind.
Sorry,
did you guys see that the last song he played before he got on Marine One was the YMCA?
Actually,
cool.
oh yeah, that was
what?
That's what he chose to leave us with.
He said,
check this out.
Have a good life.
He said, "Have a good life," and then he walked up to YMCA.
Check this out, though.
A real human person did that.
His plane took off while My Way by Sinatra was playing. Did you guys know that Sinatra hates him? Have you ever heard the story about Atlantic City?
No, tell us.
Like while Frank Sinatra was alive?
Yes. So in
Hates
the
it,
80s,
He hates
Trump.
him beyond the grave. That's how powerful it was.
Right.
He does.
And I think it was the 80s, Trump, or maybe it had to have been the 80s, early 80s, Trump Casino booked Sinatra and Sammy Davis, and Trump called the booking agent and said, "We don't want Sammy Davis. He's black."
Cool guy.
And Sinatra called him and goes, "Let me get Trump on the phone." And he gets him on the phone and he goes, "Go fuck yourself." And he refused to play, and they had this huge dispute. And so it's just so like horribly ironic that he would take a Sinatra song who hated him.
Also, the Village People who...
It's like a gay anthem. I don't understand.
It is like a gay anthem. Like, why not?
It's amazing.
But
It's
not
perfect.
even just that. Not even just that. Rudy on the 6th walked up to give his speech, pre-Capitol insurrection, to Macho Man. What is the? I don't understand what these people. They're like caricatures of themselves.
It's just because we've got them all wrong. It's that fake news we've been watching.
That's right. That's
true.
right.
Good point.
I'm convinced.
Speaking of great songs, I wanted to ask you guys. This is my transition.
What are your thoughts about YMCA?
Yeah, how many of the Village People songs influenced you on this record?
When did you first hear of the Village People?
Village Podpole. Our new season is coming soon.
That's true.
What was there? What music were you guys listening to at the time of songwriting and production of this record that you think might have influenced the sound, or was there a sound that you were aiming for that you wanted to listen to some albums to kind of replicate that? Like, what were some of the songs you were hearing as you were working on this record? Production wise, like, is there something production wise that you were seeking to kind of emulate?
I can't really remember. Some of these songs are 4 or 5 years old now.
Sure.
I know more recently, actually, I know there have been some comparisons to Rage Against the Machine, obviously the political leanings, but so my son has gotten super into Rage Against the Machine over the last couple of years.
Cool.
And I liked them fine in the 90s. They were never one of my favorites, but I think they suffered, at least in my view, just because of all the other rap rock that was happening that was not nearly as good.
Sure.
But I mean, that you can say that of any genre, right?
Don't lie, Scott. We know you're a big Biscuit head.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The truth is
Come on.
I'm feeling those lighters.
No, I mean, I thought the production on those
moment,
records
baby.
was really cool. I always liked Tom Morello's guitar tone, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they were never a favorite. And it's really been in the last couple of years that I've kind of gotten a newfound appreciation for them. And I feel like their songs have actually aged really well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Especially those first 2 records.
honestly, Evil Empire is my favorite. Or sorry, Battle of Los Angeles is my favorite.
Battle of Los Angeles, yeah.
So, but they're all great. Every single one of them are great, I think. So Renegades, actually, the chorus did not hit so hard. The riff was there already, but that very well could have been kind of what made me want to, lean into that chorus a little bit more with just the kind of wall of guitars.
Yeah.
And it is a very Tom Morello sounding chorus.
Yeah. The like da 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 da. That feels very ragey.
Totally. I wasn't really thinking about it consciously, but that probably was working its way through my subconscious.
Well, I think we, from now on, we gotta refer to Reese as Zach De La Roper. I feel like that works.
That's good. I like that.
I mean, you come closer to rapping this time around than you have in a while. Some of those fast rhymes.
It's true.
I can't. Please don't do this.
there are a couple of guitar solo-y moments on the record that definitely remind me of that Tom Morello kind of slidey vibe. I don't know, Jeremy, was there anything for you that you were thinking about as you were working on the record in terms of production? Or are you just kind of following what the band was doing?
I mean, they give me an open gate to do what I want, I feel like. I don't think we referenced anything, Scott, did we?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there were a couple of things when we were still working out the horns that were horn specific that we were trying to go for, but not like anything that was a general vibe or sound for the entire band.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've mixed so much that I don't think I'm ever really getting inspired. You just have to take, what the music is and do what's best for the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that makes sense. We talked about how you guys are coming in with more songs than would fit on a record. I know there are probably only a couple that ultimately were recorded that didn't make the cut, right? But are there any plans of an EP eventually?
Employee of the Century should never see the light of day.
Scott, what the fuck, dude?
I don't think it's that bad.
7-inch or
What
something?
don't you like about
It's
it?
that bad.
What is it about it?
When They Find You
Let's
is
talk
good.
about
When They
it.
Find You actually was
Scott.
probably going to make the record, and then Wildcat ended up kind of inching it out. But Employee of the Century,
Scott.
fuck that song.
People like funny songs. What don't you like, the melody or the lyrics?
All of the above.
Jeez. Do you like the music?
It's okay. I mean, not really.
Can we? Come on. Let's just give it out for free to the children.
I don't even remember it.
I mean, the way I described it was
I got it. Yeah.
The way I described it was, I said it feels like Exile on Main Street meets Kiss, and not in a good way.
That sounds kind of cool.
What?
That's fair.
Right. It
Sounds good.
sounds it. I just think, like, within the tone of the record, it just, like, I was trying to find a place where it made sense, and like.
Sorry.
It was recent.
Here's what the EP should be. Actually, it could be another LP. I mean, Jeremy has probably a good 45 minutes of Reese outtakes, and it should just be nothing but that.
Can we talk about the outtakes, though? What they are? It's just me swearing.
Yeah.
It's just,
but it's
after
it's way,
I would take a bad day.
It's infinitely funnier than Employee of the Century.
Me causing my mother to go to an early grave. That is what that is.
Someday we'll hear all that somehow.
I'll send it over to you guys. You need to hear it.
You should hear it.
I don't know. We could probably do some alternate versions of some songs along with When They Find You. And that's also the song that Mike Herrera sang on, so we got to figure out what we're doing with that.
Right on.
How about we just make another album?
Hey, I like that idea too.
Yeah.
If you don't like Employee of the Century, we'll put it out. Just give it away for free. Just do
I don't
that.
know. We should bury it. We should light it on fire.
Oh man.
Can I someone had a suggestion, Reese, of just releasing in its entirety like a vinyl of all of the voicemails you left for the pod explaining why So Far From Home is a terrible album. And
I don't know. I don't remember that.
that was Greg Taint. No, somebody else.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. That was Greg Taint. My bad. That's yeah.
It'd be a rare. Jason Hockney-Zyman is going to hook us up with a rare limited pressing of those.
Is Greg Taint a guy that calls into your show?
Sometimes.
He's
That's cool.
He seems like
a good guy.
Seems like a good guy.
Got his head on straight.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to chalk that answer up to the band is still deciding. Do you? Okay, another controversial line of questions. How'd that prime number plan work out?
Well, there's 13 songs on the album.
There's 13 songs. While Supplies Last is on an even number. I don't know.
Yeah, but they somehow let in my crazy neuroses about prime numbers. They let it in. They were just like, okay, Reese will shut up if we put 13 songs or 11 on the album.
But wasn't there something with singles being
You're saying put the hits on the prime numbers too.
But yeah, we didn't write any of those, so.
Also, no problem there.
I mean, yeah, I remember you saying, Scott, like you feel like 10 songs maybe is kind of like the perfect amount. But I don't know. Prime number driven or not, like this 13 song collection feels perfect. Like I'm glad that none of them are cut. Okay, answer on the prime numbers. What about, speaking of Jason, our producer at Unoriginal Vinyl, he was behind the artwork for the record, which is dope. And I wondered if you could talk. He kind of let us in along the way as he was working on it. But could you guys talk a little bit about how the conversation around deciding on artwork for the record went and how you feel about it?
Reese.
There's a lot of drama. Oh, I'm talking about it. So I wanted to get the ball rolling. I was like, hey, let's make it be this picture or some picture similar. Did I throw out any other ones? And I just was like, it would be cool if it just says this, until this shakes apart, scratchy hash marks.
Yeah.
And there was so much pushback from the band. As with all these political lyrics, I think there was there's a few people in our band, they just push. They're just like, can't you write about happy stuff again? What about dandelions? And you're like, come on, dude. Right now is not dandelions time.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
So it was time for this album cover, and finally everybody's like, yes, I like this. We wrote the Reuters, who had the rights to it, and just said, hey, how do we buy this? It's very cool. The guy that took the picture, he's black. I was like, this is sweet. This dude was he was in Minneapolis. He saw this thing burning. We want to support this. Let's use this picture. We paid for it, got it on the album. Everybody finally agreed. I don't know what else to say. It was a lot of just like, I don't want this, and finally majority ruled because we're a democracy. Not in the United States, but in 5 Iron Frenzy.
Hopefully going forward in the United States.
There may have been some storming of barricades in the process.
Yeah, but we got it.
I remember when he showed us that stuff, I was like kind of saying, I wonder if everybody's going to be cool with this. But I'm really glad. I mean, it certainly captures this moment and the album being in dialogue with this moment in such a, I don't know, like explicit way. Like it just ties it to what we're dealing with, and it feels like a real statement. So I think it's really cool.
Not only that, but the imagery of fire and, just like in nature, stuff burns, and then from that, there's growth that comes from the ashes, and things are reborn out of that. And so I like that symbolism in the artwork as well.
I think another thing that is symbolic too is that we've kind of stuck with Douglas TenNapel for so many album covers, and he's a good guy. We love him. He makes good art and good comics, but he has, like, on his social media, taken this completely turn against people that we care about, against trans people and LGBTQ people and people that are our friends and people that we love, and we just couldn't get on board with that. So we consciously made a decision. We were like, all of us, just, Black Lives Matter. We need a person of color to be involved in this, and so
yeah,
that was important for us to make that picture be on the cover.
Yeah.
It certainly feels distinct among the 5-iron covers and artwork.
I mean, did you see? Jeremy, since you're not on social media, I'm assuming you didn't see this, but Scott and Reese, did you see the fan art of the guy who did the like the 5-iron robot shaking the church? Did you see that?
Yeah,
I did.
That was cool.
Yeah,
it's so I'm like that sort of thing, like sort of like taking that Doug style and sort of turning it on its head, like in a way that, something that he probably wouldn't feel comfortable depicting or doing. But I think it's cool that you all took a principled stand on that.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that you have dandelions and columbine flowers in the artwork. I think that too is just an additional little fun Easter egg for the, shouts to your state flower and old song. I think that's neat. I like it.
Agreed.
Thanks.
You can't hear me nodding, I guess, huh? Yes. Cosign.
Podcasts, yeah, we're not a visual medium.
Speaking of visual mediums,
what I'll do, Scott, going forward is in the edit I'll narrate. I'll be like, Scott is nodding at this moment.
Sounds very soothing.
Scott is smiling in response.
Just do like tones at the beginning of it. Be like this tone, this bell represents a nod.
You're gonna have to have one for my eyebrow going up.
Yeah.
We can use your flute tones for that, Jeremy.
I'll send some over. Yeah,
please do.
Okay.
The podcast continues on side B.
I expected far more fluting. Is that how you say it?
Flouting.
Well, the conversation got way too serious, so I just
exactly.
I couldn't mess this up.
Jeremy is pressing his flute to his lips. Okay, there we go.
Scott is doing the dove hand sound whistle.
Oh man. Okay, so EP, maybe not. Music videos? Question mark. Any of those this time around?
There's been talk.
Yeah.
No
Scott
action.
hates music videos. Let's just put that right out.
So, if I don't have to be in it, then I don't care.
Right. I mean, yeah, I kind of figured it'd have to be either like like a Zoom thing, like you did recently, or just something completely sort of like driven by a director or whatever that doesn't involve you guys.
Now, Andy threw out an idea for an animated one that would be cool.
Ooh, that's cool.
But whether or not that will actually come to fruition or not.
You should all just cast your kids as members of the band and have them play the instruments and have them
kind of a great idea.
Them be,
I like that.
Have them be
That's
the band.
pretty cool. I like that.
I think if we did Homelessly Devoted to You, that would be a very good video. Just our kids playing, and then if we could get KRS-One to be in the video.
There you go. Yeah,
just in the back seat, just like
use.
That was
that'd be a
doing
good
thumbs
use
up.
of some of the Kickstarter money just to get that KRS-One. Just show up, give the thumbs up.
Is he still doing stuff these days? I wonder what he's up to.
Yeah.
He's
playing shows.
He tried to start his own. He tried to start his own religion.
All right, cool.
I joined.
He quit being on Jive because he was like, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears are on this label. I'm done. Like he made that label, and then he was like, "I'm out."
Wow.
He's so cool.
He is cool.
You guys should listen to KRS-One. So cool.
I feel like we
That's
need to
not
ask
the,
a mixing question because Jeremy's looking pretty bored.
Jeremy,
Is that
how would
the 3 a.m. guy? It's 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Remember that eternal?
no? He's like, that's the sound of the police. Whoop whoop.
See,
That's
I don't
the
know
sound of the
KRS-One.
beast.
Who was I singing?
Dude.
Wow, what was that?
Get
think
on
3 a.m.
KRS-One.
I think 3
Wasn't
a.m.
that
might also
Matchbox
be
20?
KRS-One.
Wasn't he a guest?
3 a.m. I must be lonely.
Let me look. I have to look. KR.
Please listen to KRS-One. Boogie Down Productions, Scott LaRock.
You, Andrew, you mentioned Kickstarter.
Yeah.
One thing we were curious about was how this Kickstarter process was different from last time. What did it allow you to do? Were you surprised that it surpassed last time? Even like talk about that a little bit.
Other than just like absolutely crushing it even faster than last time.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought, what did we ask for? Was it 60? Was that the goal?
Did we crush it faster? I don't think we did.
Yeah,
did
no,
we?
it was like
It was
30 minutes
faster.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
so
it was 60,
stupid.
Scott.
I knew that we needed to raise more than we had asked for last time, just because we kind of underestimated the cost of fulfillment and manufacturing and all that stuff. And so I understood why we asked for more, but I also was nervous that, maybe we would just make it. I mean, I thought we probably over the course of the 30 days would make our goal, but maybe just make our goal. Certainly, I did not expect to meet that in 30 minutes or whatever it was.
30 minutes?
Bring in that cool $250,000.
More than that, even.
Let's not talk about it in terms of millions. Those people are like, those guys have a lot of dollars. Look, my liquor cabinet has to be in this old Mac Pro. It's a 2007, which, as you know, as a Mac enthusiast, they cannot be upgraded anymore. So
You actually
that is
can.
what that's good for. Jeremy, why didn't you tell me that before I gutted that thing?
Well, it's hard to do, but you can actually do it. But don't worry about it.
It's been repurposed. Yeah, I think starting
Recycling.
a roper line of disguised
pretty
liquor
genius.
cabinets. I like it.
Are there things that this amount will allow you to do as a band once things like shows are back on the table?
I think last time we said, hey, if we ever get above 30,000, we'll do a tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we were like, how do we play shows again?
Right.
That was great. A great problem. We figured that out. This time we didn't have to do that. Like we know we can play shows. All those videos that we made,
right?
We made 4. That's more than we've made for any album, and probably too many.
Three too many.
Scott, come on.
People like content. It was great.
People like content. Look at whatever video that is. It's got 200,000 views.
That doesn't mean it's good.
That's right.
Which one? The hanger one?
The only good one was
Hanger?
was Zen, if you ask me.
I mean, Zen is good. I think they're all good, but Zen is the best.
Zen's classic. You gotta have Machine Gun Jesus. That's if there's anything that, I mean, Scott, that on its own, if is indication that like music videos are a necessary thing.
Featuring Scott as our Lord and Savior, shooting everyone.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. So all those videos, they were paid for by the shows that were played in those videos. So there's like the Into Your Veins and then Battle Dancing Unicorns. Battle Dancing Unicorns paid for both of those videos, and then the Zen and then So Far paid for it. That being said, it was not fun for anyone. Like, I mean, fun. Like you're like, this will probably look fun, and I'm dressing like a guy with a 3/4 hat doing this with a gun. Like that was fun, but it's hard. But it paid for itself. So we may make videos someday when we can breathe on each other again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the answer to this is so weird in this moment.
Hey, we're getting closer, guys. We're getting closer.
It's true.
Yeah, my favorite part is the Biden administration said that, I know this will shock you, but they came in and the Trump administration had no COVID plan.
No plan whatsoever.
What?
Oh my God.
To no one's surprise.
What a surprise.
You guys didn't know that?
He's like, I'm rolling out 100 million vaccines. Second day, just signing that. We have it. You can get it.
Right.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah.
We've been the Florida system is so rough that we've been collecting seniors' names and addresses and doing all that stuff. And when we hear about it coming up online, because the website for it's like buying concert tickets.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you have 6 minutes once you're in the portal to fill out this information. But we've been just taking down names and getting people tickets every time they're available, which isn't that often.
You're helping seniors in your area.
Yes.
You're a freaking saint.
Uh-oh. Jeremy is now brandishing a knife.
I don't even know why this is in here. Oh, I have another one too. Oh.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
No, there is. There is lots of stuff.
How do we get back on track here? What haven't we talked about this album that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, what do you?
I got a tattoo gun set, and I was ready to make that be somebody's Kickstarter.
Reese,
Kickstarter prize.
I will. I think I told you that. I mean, I would do that. I would do that unequivocally. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm ready. I just got to practice on a couple people.
Can you do those? Can you do the scratchy hashies?
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That way you don't need much practice.
It's gonna be real scratchy.
I'll get them scratchy hashies. I love that new logo, bro. I'm into it. Whose design was that? Whose idea?
That was Reese.
Talk about it.
Was it?
Well done.
Wasn't the scratchy one on Engine too?
No.
This was original for this one? Okay.
Original.
It rules. We love it.
We keep changing up our logo, unlike good companies.
Yeah.
That
Brand
succeed.
recognition. Fuck that. Who cares?
We're like, whatever. It's 5 seconds of summer, but we mess it up.
We did talk last time we had you on, Jeremy, about the drum sound that you achieved with Andy on Engine sounding better than any 5-iron drum sound had before, and kind of like what went into that process. But I mean, Scott, you were producing this time around, but like when again, it is awesome.
John,
I mean,
you're kind of glitching out again.
Just talk about how the drums sound good for me.
The drums
sound
were
good.
the thing I was most nervous about, least confident about, I guess, recording. And I definitely picked Jeremy's brain a lot when we were getting things set up. I even, on one of our many FaceTime chats, like I was kind of showing him around our living room, which has pretty high ceilings, and just kind of getting his feedback about where the best place would be to set up, and always asking about mic selection and placement and all that. So I think it turned out great, but I definitely was not super confident going into it because especially knowing how meticulous Jeremy is about drum recording, in particular. But it turned out all right.
I think they did great. I think it sounds awesome.
I think it sounds more than all right.
Doesn't hurt that Andy is awesome and just plays the shit out of his drums.
Right.
Yes, he does.
Andy is so good, and he did a halftime shuffle on this record, and that's all that matters. And did that not affect anyone but me, or what's the deal? Everyone's
We
staring
may
at me.
have called that
I'm
out,
affected.
but when? Yeah, talk about when that happens.
What song was it?
While Supplies Last.
Yeah, that's right. While Supplies Last.
We might have called that out when we talked about it.
It's kind of a variation of the Purdy shuffle.
It's just very hard to do, and he incorporated it into a ska song. So he's
the best.
good. He's very good and very funny.
That's the thing about Andy. I was talking about on one of our last eps, just some drum part that I liked, and I'm like, I don't know if this is like a simple little thing that he does or it's complicated. Like whatever he does, he makes everything sound easy and great because he just crushes everything that he does. So I'm so very unfamiliar with drum terminology, which is why all of our drum sound effects that we make are just so it's like I don't know any terminology or anything. I barely know any drum terms. So, but I do know that he's sponsored by Badger, or at least that's his kit, and it sounds awesome.
It does.
I think the main key with Andy, though, real quick, is that to me, other than vocals, drums are under the biggest microscope, and they're the hardest thing to get right, period. Like, I'm a pretty good fake on most instruments. I'm serious. Like, I can, like, kind of make it all happen, but drums, you can't suck. It's, like, you can edit a lot, and you can work miracles, but to have any kind of swagger or to sound remotely special, you have to actually be good. So Andy's really good. There, said it.
Yeah, if the drums suck, the band sucks.
If the snare sounds like crap, you're screwed.
Yeah.
311 snare. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I was gonna say.
Is that what sucks about 311?
I think so.
Because I would. That was it. Fine. I wasn't going to say anything else. That was
If
it.
the snare sounded
Thank you for
normal, you'd be
cluing
like,
me in on that.
it's okay.
Yeah, I'd be like, man, this band is really good.
You wouldn't say that, but you would be like, this is fine.
Lyrics.
This is fine. Yeah, that's what you would say. This is fine. But when that snare comes in, you know.
Yeah, I would love Creed if not for that fucking snare.
Nothing can redeem that.
So, hey, one other thing I want to say about Andy. Like, what I love about him is his dedication to his craft. Like, he practices all the time. Like, he's doing I think 100 days of drums or something, where he plays an hour a day. So no one else in the band can say that, including
it's really
myself.
cool.
Like, he loves doing that. He loves the minutia of playing drums. But at the same time, that hasn't turned him into like a, Thomas Lang super techno. He like loses touch with what is actually cool.
I know Thomas.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, he's amazing technically. You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Like,
I was being funny. I do know him, though.
But I don't know, but like very few people want to listen to that. He still knows.
He is a musical drummer.
He's got a good balance of the technical part of it and just playing for the song.
That's a perfect way to say it.
He's the best, and the drums on this record rule. Sounds
Any
great.
other questions about the mix? You guys need anything else from me, or do you want to go back into capitalism?
I think we're winding down here.
No, let's keep it going. Let's go another 128 minutes. Let's do it.
We could. We have a lot of YouTube videos to play for you guys. I don't know. I'm probably going to break up in here, as I apparently have been, but I don't know. we love this band and we love this record, and it's so cool that we have been able to talk about it in this last year of doing the pod about it, getting to know you guys. So I don't know. I don't have any other questions except to say I'm like proud of you guys. I love this album, and I think it's been such a cool year, and congrats. Yeah, that's all I have.
Very grateful for you guys.
Awesome.
I will echo that sentiment of proud of what you have accomplished and put out. And Jeremy and Scott, you guys, I didn't. You have surpassed my expectations. Like, how awesome I think Engine sounds. This record, you guys surpassed that. So amazing record, amazing lyrics. Everybody brought it. Not a single dead weight song on the record. Wall-to-wall bangers. Thank you for all the time that you've given to us over this past year. Thankful for you guys.
Hey, congrats on the podcast. It's weird. Five Iron is actually one of those bands that people talk to me about a lot. I've done a lot of records and I don't hear much about them. But Five Iron is is one of the few bands that people be like, "Hey man, did you do that, man? Did you do that album?" That's exactly how they talk. But people hit me up about the podcast too. Mark Solomon.
Hey,
his name was Mark Solomon.
Rufus Wainwright. Do you guys know Rufus?
Yeah, Rufus is nice and all. He's kind of good at piano, but we're going to bring in a ghost piano player. But no, I've been hearing a lot about the podcast, so hats off to you guys too for keep getting this thing going and having me on here and sit here and not say anything for an hour. I'm just playing.
Thanks for coming on, man.
No, it's so cool to be a part of this whole deal. It's really cool.
Wow. Jeremy, your family, you know that, right?
What's that?
Your family, you know that, right?
Excuse me? I think it's breaking up.
I said, fuck off. You know that, right?
Oh, cool. Good to be here.
See you guys in that pit. 2022. Hopefully later this year.
I'm going to go to the first. I'm going to go to the first Five Iron show that happens. I think I'm going to fly to it wherever it is.
Yeah, I think unequivocally that needs to be the case.
Yeah, we hang out.
At it?
Fort Walton Beach.
I won't be there to play keyboard. I'll have a beer ski.
Come on.
No.
You can have a beer ski and play keyboard.
I'm not you.
Oh. Just put it in a Starbucks cup. That's how you got to rock it.
No, I'm serious. I think I want to go to the first show you guys can do. I feel like it'll be really rowdy.
Fort Walton Beach, and you're playing keyboards.
Don't play in Fort Walton Beach. There'll be like 3 people there. Who's playing? Are they reggae?
Where's my teeth?
Oh man, I love Buffett. Jimmy Buffett is as good as it can get in my
Scott,
heart.
Can we just do a Jimmy Buffett cover band, please, for a minute?
For a minute.
We just open for ourselves Jimmy Buffett cover band, Five Iron Frenzy.
My joke about my area is that all our national chains are boutique local places, Oh, I go to the local coffee shop. It's all made right there. Starbucks.
Right.
It is delicious. Burger King is local. I don't know. I'm sorry. Everybody in my town is horrible. Sorry. I'm tired.
I've been to your town 3 times and it's wonderful.
Good sushi.
It's good sushi.
At Burger
Also,
King?
if you're into meth,
There's
is
a lot of
great
meth.
place.
Great meth town.
A lot of good meth, the blue stuff.
It's beautiful.
It's got that Heisenberg shit.
That's right. This isn't meth. Sorry, everybody.
Jeremy's the one who knocks.
That's right. Some of this is going to be edited out.
Deep cuts. Deep cuts.
That's disappointing.
No, this was fun. You guys are awesome. Keep doing your podcast. It's awesome.
Oh, we're keeping going, baby. Season 3.
We're keeping going. Season
Coming up.
3 starting soon.
Do you guys edit stuff?
I know it's hard to
because
believe.
I've listened to the podcast.
It's hard to believe, but yes, I edit the podcast.
Wow.
This one's going to be long and treacherous.
Yep.
I'm
Thanks,
sorry.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you to Jeremy, Reese, and Scott for joining us once more. Great and wild conversation. If you want to weigh in with your thoughts on our conversation, anything we talked about, you can do so at Magnified Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Subscribe if you haven't yet already, and give us a rating or review. We'll read your review on the pod. Email us at magnifiedpod@gmail.com.
You can leave us a voicemail at 872-762-4763, 8727-MAGPOD.
And you can support us over at our Patreon, patreon.com/magnifiedpod, which we want to welcome 2 new Patreon punks to the family, Escher Wenberg and Don Engie. There you go. Welcome, Escher and Don. Anybody can go check out the Patreon, see what we're doing over there. Episodes early, bonus stuff, all that good stuff, and more coming soon for season 3. You can pick up some merch at magnifiedpod.storeenvy.com. And
New merch coming.
New merch coming, baby.
Soon.
Thanks to Shadow Producer Jason at Unoriginal Vinyl, and thanks to Heavy Ordnance Studios and Danny Leary for our artwork. Well, season 2 is winding down, but we want you to be found enjoying the next season.
It's time to unite under the revolution of the pants. Now, who holds the pants? And whose are these pants?
Mustering in Congress, filibustering, procrastinating, delegating, multitudes are suffocating.
Maybe that's inappropriate to do over a song as serious as Renegades, but
we can fade it out before the lyrics or something.
Nah, I'm leaving leaving that in there.
For more shows like this one, visit rockcandyrecordings.com.